If you're looking for action-packed sci-fi on Netflix, you're in the right place. From alien invasions and killer machines to giant robots and dystopian futures, here are 10 sci-fi action movies actually worth watching in 2026. Starting of our list at number 10, Battle Los Angeles. Los Angeles becomes a war zone when mysterious objects falling from the sky turn out to be the beginning of a massive alien invasion. A squad of US Marines is sent into the devastated city to rescue civilians, but the mission quickly becomes a desperate fight against an enemy with overwhelming technology. Battle Los Angeles basically plays like a military war movie mixed with an alien invasion blockbuster, and that's exactly where it works best. The shaky combat style can be intense, but the constant firefights, ruined city streets, and desperate atmosphere keep the movie moving almost non-stop. If you want soldiers versus aliens with very little downtime, this is an easy one to watch. At number 9, Beyond Skyline. An alien invasion suddenly tears Los Angeles apart, with enormous ships abducting people across the city. Police detective Mark Corley is caught in the middle of the disaster while desperately trying to rescue his son. What begins as a survival story quickly expands into an all-out war involving alien technology, terrifying creatures, and humanity fighting back against an enemy that seems almost impossible to stop. Beyond Skyline knows exactly what kind of movie it wants to be. It's loud, fast, strange, and packed with action. The visual effects obviously aren't on the level of the biggest Hollywood blockbusters, but the movie compensates with energy and creativity. Once it gets moving, it keeps throwing new ideas and bigger confrontations at you. For fans of underrated alien invasion movies, this one is surprisingly fun. At number 8, Terminator: Dark Fate. Decades after Sarah Connor changed humanity's future, another deadly machine arrives from the future. This time, the target is Dani Ramos, a young woman whose survival will become incredibly important in the coming war between humans and machines. Protecting her is Grace, an enhanced soldier sent back through time, while Sarah Connor returns to join the fight against the terrifying Rev 9. Dark Fate doesn't reinvent the Terminator formula, but when it focuses on action, it delivers. The Rev 9 is a genuinely dangerous enemy, the chase sequences are huge, and Linda Hamilton's return as Sarah Connor gives the movie a connection to the franchise's strongest years. It may not reach the legendary level of the first 2 films, but as a modern sci-fi action movie, there's still plenty here to enjoy. At number 7, Warriors of Future. The year is 2055, and Earth has been devastated by war, pollution, and environmental destruction. Then a meteorite brings a rapidly growing extraterrestrial organism known as Pandora. It's extremely dangerous, but there's a complication. The organism may also have the ability to help clean the planet's polluted atmosphere. An elite military unit is sent on a desperate mission, only to discover that the situation is much bigger than they expected. This Hong Kong sci-fi blockbuster is an easy recommendation if you love armored soldiers, futuristic weapons, military technology, robots, and massive destruction. The story moves quickly, and the movie clearly wants to give you spectacle. Some elements feel familiar if you've watched a lot of Hollywood sci-fi, but the visual ambition and fast-paced combat make Warriors of Future worth checking out. At number 6, What Happened to Monday. In 2073, overpopulation has pushed society toward an extreme one-child policy. Hidden from the authorities are 7 identical sisters, all played by Noomi Rapace. Each sister is named after a day of the week, and each is allowed to leave their apartment only on that specific day while pretending to be the same woman, Karen Setman. Their system works for years, until Monday goes outside and never returns. That setup alone makes What Happened to Monday one of the most interesting movies on this list. It combines dystopian science fiction with mystery, conspiracy, survival, and some surprisingly brutal action. Noomi Rapace also has the difficult job of making 7 physically identical characters feel like different people, and she pulls it off remarkably well. If you prefer sci-fi with a strong concept behind the action, don't skip this one. At number 5, Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. Set in the 1990s, Rise of the Beasts introduces Noah, a young electronics expert who unexpectedly gets pulled into the world of the Autobots after discovering that the Porsche he's trying to steal is actually Mirage. At the same time, an ancient artifact capable of opening portals through space becomes the center of a battle involving the Autobots, the Maximals, the Terracons, and the planet-devouring Unicron. This is pure blockbuster entertainment. Giant robots fight, cities get destroyed, transformations happen everywhere, and the final act goes completely massive. Mirage brings plenty of personality, while the Maximals add something different to the familiar Autobots versus villains formula. It isn't trying to be deep science fiction, but if you you came for spectacular robot battles and huge visual effects, Rise of the Beast understands the assignment. At number 4, Elysium. In 2154, Earth has become overcrowded, polluted, and deeply divided. The wealthy have abandoned the planet and moved to Elysium, a luxurious orbital station where advanced technology can cure illnesses that remain deadly for people on Earth. Matt Damon plays Max, a factory worker who becomes desperate to reach Elysium after an accident leaves him with only days to live. What makes Elysium stand out is the combination of a believable dystopian world and aggressive action. The technology feels heavy and industrial rather than perfectly clean and futuristic, and Max's exoskeleton gives the combat a brutal physical quality. Add Sharlto Copley as the completely unhinged Kruger, and you get a sci-fi movie with both an interesting world and some seriously violent confrontations. More than a decade later, the production design still looks impressive. At number 3, Lucy. Lucy is a young woman living in Taipei who is forced to deliver a mysterious package for a group of criminals. When an experimental drug is accidentally released into her body, she begins developing extraordinary mental and physical abilities that push her far beyond normal human limits. Lucy is a fast-paced sci-fi action movie packed with gunfights, chases, and superhuman powers. Scarlett Johansson delivers a strong performance, and while the science is more fiction than fact, the movie remains stylish, intense, and entertaining from beginning to end. At number 2, Chappie. In a near-future Johannesburg, robotic police units have become one of the city's main weapons against crime. But engineer Dion Wilson secretly takes a damaged police robot and installs experimental artificial intelligence, creating Chappie, a machine capable of learning, thinking, feeling, and developing almost like a child. Unfortunately, Chappie ends up being raised in one of the worst environments imaginable. What makes Chappie stand out is that underneath the gunfights, robots, gangsters, and futuristic technology, there's a surprisingly emotional story about consciousness and what it actually means to be alive. It's weird, chaotic, and definitely not for everyone, but it has far more personality than the average robot action movie. And finally, at number 1, Time Out. In this dystopian future, humans stop aging at 25, but there's a terrifying catch. Everyone has a clock showing exactly how much longer they have to live. Time has replaced money, meaning the wealthy can potentially live forever, while the poor struggle every day just to earn another few hours. Factory worker Will Salas suddenly receives more time than he could ever imagine, putting him directly in the path of the authorities and the powerful system controlling society. Also known as In Time, this movie has one of the coolest sci-fi concepts on the list. Justin Timberlake and Amanda Seyfried lead a story that mixes dystopian ideas with chases, crime, romance, and action. It doesn't explore every possibility of its concept, but the world itself is fascinating enough to keep you watching. And those are our 10 action sci-fi movies worth watching on Netflix in 2026. Which one would you put at number 1? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more movie recommendations.